Hey Dunchbags, what's going on? It's Landon Remixes here, and it is time for my review of this new album from BLACKBEAR called Cybersex. BLACKBEAR is an American alt R&B singer, songwriter, and producer with quite a big reputation, to say the least. The list of hit songs that BLACKBEAR has been involved with is very extensive. He's worked with the likes of Justin Bieber, G-Eazy, Mike Posner, Pharrell Williams, Linkin Park, to name a few. Although he was already pretty well established as a solo act going into 2017, BLACKBEAR really blew up this year with the single Do Re Mi off his Digital Druglord album. An album that, at the time of its release, I was not fond of, to say the least. I gave the album a 1.0 out of 10, which is actually the worst rating I've ever given an album in the near 3 years I've been doing reviews on my channel. It was also one of the only albums in my channel's history that I've rated almost exclusively just for its lyricism. And don't get me wrong, I still think the lyrics on that album are honestly pretty bad. There's not many lines on Digital Druglord that sit well with me. But to rate an album based on lyrics, especially on a review channel that primarily focuses on the music production side of things, it probably wasn't fair to BLACKBEAR or his fans, so for that, I'm sincerely sorry. And while I won't retract a rating that I give an album or an EP on this channel, I will say confidently that Digital Druglord did not deserve a 1 out of 10. There, I said it. With that, I actually was looking forward to hearing this new BLACKBEAR album, even if I wasn't totally thrilled by any of the singles, largely because of the enormous weight of guest singers on Cybersex, featuring artists like Tinashe, Machine Gun Kelly, Rick Ross, T-Pain, 2 Chainz. I gotta say, and this is why album reaction videos are a terrible idea, I absolutely hated this album the first time I listened through it. In fact, my first time listening to Cybersex was back-to-back with Digital Druglord, and I was surprised at how kind I felt toward Digital Druglord after listening to this album. If I had to summarize my initial thoughts on this album, it would be something like the same trap beat over and over again, while BLACKBEAR's lyrics really haven't gotten much better since Digital Druglord. But of course, after the massive amount of backlash that my Digital Druglord review got, I really wanted to make sure Cybersex got a very critically fair review. So I've essentially been listening to this album on repeat over and over again since it dropped, and I'll be honest, right now I'm more interested in the BLACKBEAR narrative than ever before. On Cybersex, unlike Digital Druglord, BLACKBEAR isn't caught in this awkward limbo between excessive flexing and self-hatred. I mean, I kind of hate flexing in music anyway, but better to do it confidently than do it while talking about how much you hate yourself. And BLACKBEAR's confidence is precisely what really turns me on to this album. Instead of acting like he doesn't care and whining over these moody R&B instrumentals, BLACKBEAR actually doesn't care, and they're generally over these really hard-hitting trap beats. And I mean, that's the general formula you get when you look at the songs in this album, but there are definitely other tracks that kind of veer out of this formula, like the songs Anxiety and Down For You, which definitely have a little bit more of an EDM ring to them. Another one in particular that I definitely think is an outlier in the track list is the song Got To Go Talk To You Later, which definitely takes on a little bit more of an acoustic sound to it. And while its lyrics don't sway too far from BLACKBEAR's typical lyrics, I could definitely see this being a kind of little fun track for BLACKBEAR to play live with a lot of, you know, cell phone flashlight action. I've also grown really fond of the following track, Candayapple, which in my opinion has an absolutely infectious hook. And you know, that's another thing that I didn't really give BLACKBEAR enough credit for when it came to Digital Druglord. The dude can write a really catchy hook. I mean, even the hook on the album's opener, Gucci Linen, which I think lyrically might even be among the worst hooks on this album, I still think it's absolutely insanely catchy. I cannot stop bobbing my head to this, even if the lyrics sound like they were the result of a drunk freestyle or something. Another one on this album that I really liked, despite its absolutely lackluster performance from Machine Gun Kelly, is the song EZ, which was actually produced by Taro, an artist that I've worked with in the past before. This song is not only insanely catchy, but it also features the very first BLACKBEAR line that I have ever resonated with. Although unfortunately, the song also contains one of the most atrocious lines on the entire album, where BLACKBEAR describes sex on the couch as cool and basic, which I just don't understand how he couldn't have come up with 2 better adjectives to put there. But I mean, I guess that's also not the worst atrocity that this album has to offer. My personal least favorite track is probably number 7, which is a combination of the song Thursday and the Froze Over interlude. And man, there's just nothing good about either of these. Probably the worst thing about Thursday is that the main premise of this song is BLACKBEAR comparing how much poon he gets compared to other artists. This is also where he makes the claim that him, Justin Bieber, and Lil Uzi all sleep with the same women, and I'm sure this is not true. And then the froze over interlude is literally just him saying, "My heart froze over and over and over again." But I mean, I guess since this is the worst of the worst, that's not too bad of a sign. I guess the big thing that comes into play with how much I like this album is while there are a lot more tracks on this album that I would listen to recreationally than Digital Druglord, there are at least like 5 tracks on this album that I'd say I would definitely come back to and listen to again, whereas on Digital Druglord there was like 1 or 2 of them. There are a lot of skip-over tracks on this album too, like most of them. About half of them I would never return to for any reason, unless of course somebody else was listening through the entire album and I really had nothing better to do, but when it comes to my own personal time, I'm only going to come back to a few different tracks on this album. And just to reinstate, that's still a lot better than Digital Druglord, even if the songs in this album seem super disconnected from each other at times. The last thing that I think really sets this album apart from Digital Druglord is that it finally stops glamorizing depression and drug use. With the death of Lil Peep being so timely with this album's release, I think BLACKBEAR would have been under some seriously heavy critical fire if he would have dropped an album with the same kind of themes as Digital Druglord and previous projects. And if I had one piece of advice for BLACKBEAR, it would be, now that you're out of that zone, stay out of that zone, and I hope the alt R&B scene follows. For Cybersex, I am feeling a strong 4 out of 10. If you guys haven't listened to this album yet and you would like to, as always, I have the Spotify link down in the description below. And if you have listened to it, make sure to let me know what you think down in the comments section. I'm sure there's going to be some very opinionated comments and whatever. I'm kind of expecting it after that Digital Druglord review. Anyway, I'm Landon Remixes. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you later. Peace.